Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. To think it's okay to just take something that doesn't belong to you? My goodness, wonder if she has children. The audacity on some people astounds me. I'm glad you had backup, OP. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Give me your property. You don't need it right now. I thought stores would be closed off or working much shorter hours during the holidays. Once I got to the store, I saw that I was, sadly for the people working there, mostly wrong. But that meant I would not need to buy as much as I initially thought. I brought with me 3 reusable shopping bags, but ended up needing just 1. While I can't say I have an emotional attachment to their bags, I do like them very much. I bought them because I love the design, color, and print on them, and gave a bit more money than one would buying reusable shopping bags in the grocery store. They're nice, practical, and I like them. I finished loading my stuff onto the conveyor belt at the cash register and put the separator so that the person behind me does not waste time but start uploading their haul. Last, I put my 3 bags on top of my stuff because I had them in the shopping cart while I was picking stuff up. While I'm fishing out my wallet from my purse, I catch a flash of color in my periphery. I look up and see the woman behind me reach over and take 2 of my bags. Confused, I stutter, "Excuse me, those are not store bags, those are my property. Please give them back to me." Entitled woman, "I know these are not the store ones. I'm not an idiot. The store has red bags with their logo on them." Me, "Then why are you taking my property?" EW, "You don't need all of them. Your groceries will fit nicely into just that one. I need these. Mind your own business and stop making a scene." Now I'm confused and getting irritated. I'm making a scene for confronting her politely about taking my stuff? But before I can even react, the older gentleman who was a customer before me in the line and just finished paying his bill as well as the cashier round on this woman. Cashier, "You will give her back her property or I will have the security escort you out." Customer before me, "How dare you behave as though you're the one being inconvenienced? You take this girl's property and tell her she doesn't need it and should not resist you? If you need reusable bags, just buy them for yourself." EW starts huffing and puffing. "Now, wait just a minute. Why are you all making such a scene?" Cashier all but yells, "Now, I'm not negotiating or listening to you. Taking the property of others is stealing no matter how you try to reason it." The cashier then picks up her mic and calls security to the register and looks at EW sternly. Cashier, "What will it be?" EW gives me back my bags while mumbling something about, "It's just a few worthless bags." I thank the cashier and the old man and go on my merry way. I didn't do much but stand my ground, but the cashier and the old man were the MVPs. It did warm my heart that people saw something nasty and immediately jumped in to correct the foul behavior. And our second story. "Sir, it's 2 a.m. Please get out of the pool." Bit of background. I work security at condos, so we get as much entitled people as customer service does. I'm on fire watch at my post doing my normal patrols. I notice there's people in the outdoor pool. Even though I'm just fire watch, I still have a job to do. Me, "Sir, it's 2 a.m. The pool's closed. I need you to leave the pool area." Entitled guest, "I don't care. I paid good money to be here. I can do whatever I want." Me, "I don't care how much you paid. You signed all the paperwork to rent a unit here. You have to abide by all property rules and regulations." E.g., "Who do you think you're talking to? I'm a friend of the owner of the unit. You just need to leave us alone." Me, "Yeah, that's not happening until you exit the pool area. So I'll ask again, please leave the pool area. You don't have to go back to your unit, you just can't be in the pool area." E.g., "Well, I'm not leaving." I cut him off. Me, "Either you abide by the rules and regulations of the property, or I call the city and get them down here. And if I have to call them, you're getting escorted off the property and evicted from the unit." E.g., "I was just joking, I'll get out." But it doesn't stop there. 30 minutes later, I hear loud music, like really loud music from the parking deck. So I go check it out. Guess who? Me. "Sir, it's past city noise ordinance. I need you to turn the music down, please." E.g., "Are you here just to make my life a living hell?" Me. No, sir. I'm just here to enforce rules and regulations. The anger on his face said everything. He just started cussing me out, saying all the cliche entitled person insults. He even said he won't be coming back here. Just because you pay all this money to stay in a unit hundreds of miles from home doesn't mean you get to be a jerk. And our next story. Wash your hands. I don't work here. No, wash your hands. This morning I pulled into the parking lot of the Land of Golden Arches because I was sorely lacking my monthly requirement of carbs, grease, calories, and caffeine. I parked next to a refrigeration repair van. There were obvious indications that it was currently in use by a refrigeration technician for repair work going on inside. So I got inside and ordered my breakfast and then ate it while reading the news on my phone, but I was disturbed by a very loud customer. "Hey, you didn't wash your hands." The customer was standing in front of the counter and was pointing at a guy in overalls with the name of a refrigeration company stenciled on them. This refrigeration technician was behind the counter, standing in front of one of those glass-fronted refrigerators. The refrigerator was empty, presumably because it wasn't working. It was moved away from the wall, and there were tools scattered around it and a gas canister of some sort next to it. The tech looked at the customer and said, "I don't work here." He had a sort of bemused, possibly embarrassed smile, as would anyone being publicly shamed for not washing their hands after going to the bathroom. "I don't care." The customer was most definitely using his outdoor voice. "You are behind the counter. I don't want your nasty hands near my food." One of the cashiers said, "He doesn't work here. He's just fixing their fridge." The customer was unfazed. "He's in the kitchen. He must wash his hands. I'm going to report you to the health inspector." Everyone behind the counter had enough at this point. The cashier ignored the customer and started taking the next person's order. The refrigerator technician got back behind the fridge, where presumably he stuck his hands into that sanitary area covered with old greasy dust bunnies that are so commonly found in the guts of a large immobile appliance. Finding himself ignored, the customer tried again. "I'm going to report you all to corporate." He started walking out the door. Everyone in the dining area had already forgotten him. "This is the nastiest restaurant I've ever seen." He said some other stuff about bacteria and how he was going to tell everyone he knew, but honestly, at that point, I was already composing my "I don't work here" entry and stopped listening. For the record, the technician should have washed his hands because it's polite and it is sanitary, but frankly, that wouldn't have been enough. He had dust and grease and oil smeared on his coveralls and arms, and he had the look of a competent mechanic where the dirt and grease is ground in. Honestly, if he wasn't handling the food, it doesn't make a damn difference. Some people like to feel important, I guess. And our last story. HOA sell non-HOA house. So I'll start by saying this happened to a friend of mine a few years ago, so I don't know all the details. I'll spare the boring details, but we lived in a small rural farming community that's been growing quite rapidly lately. A lot of farmers are growing old and selling their farmland. There are two ways to do this. They can either split it into lots and sell a piece at a time. This typically brings in more money, but is a much slower process. Then they can sell the whole thing at once. Again, faster process, less money. This particular farmer decided to sell his land in lots because it was in a developing neighborhood and he could make a much larger profit doing it that way. My friend bought a few lots and built a very nice house on it. Then a large company came in and bought most of the remaining lots and built a subdivision on the land. In order to keep everything in a consistent look, they themed the properties after my friend's place. His was a lot nicer, obviously. He didn't cheap out on it like they did, but they had a similar style to his. He didn't mind because that just raised his property value even more. Now, it's important to note that my friend basically lived right in the center of the subdivision. He bought a place in the middle of the property because of its view. Probably not the best idea in retrospect. The individuals who constructed the subdivision also established an HOA. My friend received multiple invitations to join, but he consistently declined for very apparent reasons. Due to certain legal clauses regarding pre-existing properties, he wasn't obligated to become a member, even though he resided in the heart of the subdivision. Despite this, he maintained a fairly positive relationship with the HOA president and some members of the community. He was regularly invited to HOA events, and on occasion he actually attended and enjoyed them. However, a new president assumed leadership of the HOA. It seems the new president didn't conduct any research because he simply assumed that my friend was a part of the HOA. The new president contacted my friend regarding several violations he claimed to have noticed, along with late fees imposed by the HOA. When my friend attempted to explain that he wasn't part of the HOA, the new president dismissed him and disregarded his explanation. Consequently, my friend chose to ignore all the fees and fines. Now, my friend was what they call a winter bird. For those unfamiliar with the term, it refers to individuals who live in the South during the winter and the North during the summer. Typically, they own 2 houses, or sometimes they're retired and simply move between family members who are happy to care for them during those seasons. My friend in particular was a doctor who worked for a hospital here during the summer months and a hospital in the South during the winter months. So everything was well planned. With that said, you can probably imagine the horror on his face when he returned home and discovered that all of his locks had been changed and another family was residing in his house. The HOA president knew that he traveled south every year, so they waited until he was away and then sent an eviction notice for all of his late fees. He had a friend who owned a real estate firm sell the house and moved in a new family, all while my friend was absent. My friend reached out to a lawyer friend of his from back in the South and initiated the process of suing the HOA. It became a showdown between a big city lawyer and a small town HOA that was unquestionably in the wrong. Care to guess who came out on top? Oh, and did I mention that the family that moved into my friend's house also took legal action? They sued the HOA because they had to be relocated on short notice and had taken out a substantial loan for that property. I'm not privy to the exact details of what happened, but I do know that the HOA president lost his house and fled town. I suspect he bore the brunt of the legal repercussions. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.